The miter saw is probably one of the most purchased, most recommended, most confidently owned tool in the home woodworking shop. It is also, for most furniture makers, almost completely redundant. And look, if you own one and you love it to bits, then I'm not here to take that away from you. But if it's gathering more dust than it makes, or you're about to spend a whole lot of money on one, then let's talk. I'm willing to bet that the majority of people who get into furniture making come from some kind of DIY carpentry kind of background, like trim work, or framing a shed, or building a deck. And in all of those situations, you're making a lot of fast crosscuts on long material. So it makes total sense that a miter saw becomes the first tool you think of, because in that context, it's genuinely the right tool. It's fast, it's relatively accurate for these types of jobs, and you can chew through a pile of 8-foot 2x4s in no time. The problem is that furniture making just doesn't ask you to do that very often. When you're building, let's say, a coffee table or a cabinet or a dresser, the parts are just shorter, but the tolerances are tighter. The crosscuts you're making are usually well within what a table saw can already handle. So the assumption that miter saws are necessary carries over from just a completely different type of woodworking. But then there's also a second group, beginners who are just starting out and are possibly a little intimidated by a table saw. And look, I get it. A spinning death wheel at crotch height sounds a lot scarier than something where you're pushing the blade down towards the stationary board. But buying a miter saw first because it feels safer is kind of like buying a Ron Weasley! A bit like buying a ride-on lawnmower because you're too scared to drive a car. They just don't do the same thing. The table saw is the one that can do most everything a miter saw can do and a lot more. And it's the one that's actually gonna let you start building furniture. I mean, I guess a car can't really mow a lawn per se. A decent miter saw is gonna run you anywhere from $200 to $300 to even $600, and that's before you factor in a stand or a whole station or cabinet build, which you might need because trying to use a miter saw on top of a regular workbench or on the floor is a bit of an ergonomic disaster. That same amount of money gets you most of the way to a decent contractor or hybrid table saw. A used cabinet saw like this Delta Unisaw clone, it only cost me $250. Or if you already have a table saw, that's money and floor space that you could put towards something that actually expands what you're capable of building, like a planer or a jointer or a bandsaw or a router table, or even lumber for your next project for that matter. These are all things that I'd recommend before buying a miter saw. And here's a little statistic that blew my mind when I polled my audience. 40% of you don't own a planer, but 80% of you do own a miter saw. A planer is just one of those transformative tools in a furniture maker shop, and it loses out to a tool that's mostly redundant. So I just thought I'd point that out. Think about the last few pieces of furniture you made or that you want to make, like a coffee table, maybe a desk, maybe a dresser. And now think about how many of those parts in those projects require crosscuts longer than 40 inches or 48 inches. Probably not many. Something large like a glued up tabletop, that gets crosscut after it's glued up. And at that point, you're dealing with something that's 30 or 36 or 40 inches wide. And the miter saw isn't even a part of that conversation. And if you're starting out with something like rough cut long boards and you want to break those down into smaller parts, then the safest way to do that is with a jigsaw. Even though it's loud and it vibrates and it's a little bit chaotic, it's still the right answer. The parts that do need clean, accurate crosscuts, like your legs or your rails or your stiles, those are almost always short enough for a table saw with a crosscut sled, and the table saw is just better at it, which I will get into in a second. The miter saw's whole selling point is speed on volume. So like cutting a lot of the same thing fast, which is great if you're building a deck. But furniture making is mostly like one-off parts, and the time that you would save using a miter saw rather than setting up a table saw sled is pretty negligible when you're simply cutting 4 table legs, not 300. The table saw beats the miter saw on 2 fronts, and one of them isn't even a fair fight, though the first is accuracy. Every miter saw I've ever used, including more expensive ones, has some amount of deflection in the arm. The blade kind of moves left or right slightly as it comes down. The fence might not be perfectly square, and your results can vary depending on how consistently you bring your arm down and execute the cut. Even the Festool Capex, the kind of purchase that you'd hide from your significant other, has a little bit of deflection. It's just a little less dramatic. Sliding miter saws are also worse than the non-sliders. The rails or the hinges that let the blade travel forward introduce another variable, and the longer the cut, the more opportunity there is for that head with the blade on it to drift. On my Bosch miter saw, I keep the glide feature permanently locked off unless I really need it. A crosscut sled on a table saw just doesn't have any of that. The workpiece is flat on the base of the sled. Consistency is achieved with a stop block that's on a fence that was calibrated with the 5-cut method, which is basically just like iterative math with a table saw, and that's either going to excite you or just make you want to close this tab. The second reason, and the more important one, is that a table saw can rip and a miter saw cannot. Ripping, which is cutting a board to width along the grain, is something that you're going to do constantly in furniture making. It's not even optional. And beyond ripping, a table saw can be jigged up to do all kinds of cuts that help with shaping workpieces or creating joinery. So if you're choosing between two tools and one of them can do almost everything the other can, plus several other categories of cuts the other one can't even touch, the choice is pretty straightforward. The table saw isn't the alternative to the miter saw, it's just the better starting point. Full stop. So what about cuts that are just too long for the table saw? And that does come up occasionally, like long aprons on a big table or long rails, just something past what your sled can handle. A circular saw and a speed square get you there just fine for a rough crosscut. And if the end result needs to be truly clean and square, then a shooting board and a hand plane will get you that result. And that's so much more accurate than either of these machines. I know that sounds like adding steps, but we're talking like 2 extra minutes on a cut you're gonna be making once in a blue moon. And sometimes those long crosscuts in furniture don't need to be that accurate. If the end is going into something like a half lap that gets flush trimmed afterwards, or it could be like a tenon that gets buried into a mortise. So like, what difference does it make if the cut isn't perfect? A circular saw is more than adequate for that. The circular saw is a shop staple anyway, so it's not likely gonna be an extra purchase because you probably already own one. A simple shooting board and a flea market number 4 plane is an inexpensive way to get superb results on the rare occasions that you actually need them. So obviously I do own a miter saw. I bought this Bosch one not because I needed it for furniture making, but to frame up some 2x4 walls when I moved into this shop to insulate it. And since this 220 odd square foot shop is the largest one that I've been in so far, I thought to myself, I may as well keep it and see how I like it. And I do use it occasionally, but it's likely less than you'd expect. The first is rough cutting pre-milled dimensional lumber. If I'm buying something that's already surfaced on 4 sides and just need to break it down into rough lengths, then the miter saw is really great for that. But 95% of the time I'm buying rough lumber or rough slabs. So this comes up maybe a handful of times a year. And just to be clear, you shouldn't be cutting rough lumber on a miter saw anyways. That's just a recipe for a kickback. And a kickback is one of those experiences that really reframes your relationship with this hobby. The second is when my table saw is already set up for some type of operation and I really don't want to change any of the settings on it just to make a single crosscut. Every single time this happens, it's because I didn't think ahead through my order of operations properly, which is totally a me problem, not a miter saw selling point. The third is long crosscuts on big parts like long aprons and rails. But thinking back through some of the bigger projects I've built in the last couple of years, I built a couple of desks, only one of which needed the miter saw one time for one single stretcher. My dog crate I made a few months ago, I use it for 2 separate parts, the baseboard trim that wrapped around the bottom and also some longer rails. The evergreen workbench, I used it 4 times for each one of these long aprons and rails, But in the workbench course, I also walk you through how to make those exact cuts using a circular saw and a speed square, specifically because I designed the entire course around people who don't have a full arsenal of tools at their disposal. And the ends of these aprons and rails get flush trimmed once these half flaps are glued up anyway, so the crosscut just needs to get you close. And if this new spring season and this long weekend has you itching to finally get a proper workbench built, this course is 30% off right now for my Fresh Cuts for Spring sale, along for the first time with my entire plans collection and the Joint Academy course through March 27th. The link is in the description. Could I survive without it? Yeah, I mean, I survived for 6 years without a miter saw across 3 different shops, the smallest of which was a mere 40 square feet, and I built plenty of furniture in all of those shops without ever really needing a miter saw. The space it frees up is also not nothing. In a small shop, you're always playing this game of what's earning its footprint, and a miter saw that's mostly redundant is a hard one to justify when you're working with, let's say, twisted lumber in a shop that doesn't have a planer. And going back to that poll, 40% of you are in exactly that situation. Here's where I have to acknowledge that I spent a non-trivial amount of time and money building a very elaborate home for a tool that I just spent 5 minutes telling you that you don't need. If I got rid of this miter saw tomorrow, what I'd actually miss is my miter saw station, aka the bunch of cabinets that I made, because I love this amount of storage. I can get rid of the miter saw itself and put a different tool on top of here, but I can't really think of what that tool would be, so I just keep the miter saw. My saw sits on linear guide rails so it can slide the full length of my cabinet to wherever I need to make a cut. It is a genuinely useful setup, even though quite a few people were not so politely confused in the comments as to why I bothered to do this. If I bolted it down in one fixed position, I could only cross-cut long boards at that one position along the board. Too far to the right and I'd slide the board into the wall, too far to the left and the board hits the dust collector. So sliding the miter saw to wherever the cut needs to happen solved that, and 3 years later, and I'm being honest with you, I still use that feature basically every time I need the miter saw. So who should actually buy a miter saw? Well, if you're doing semi-production cabinetry or a mix of DIY, reno stuff in your house and furniture making, yeah, it makes sense. If you have a huge YouTube land shop and a hole burning in your pocket, of course, do it. But if you're getting into making furniture, don't buy a miter saw before you buy a table saw or a planer or a jointer or a bandsaw or a router table or a dust collector or many other things that I can think of. If you want to check out the miter saw station build, that video is right here from a few years ago. If you want to build something right now without half the tools people say you need on YouTube, the Evergreen Workbench video is right here. It's proof that all of this works in practice. And I beseech you in your infinite benevolence to cast your favor upon the like button, and if the spirit should move you towards the hype button as well, know that such generosity shall not go unnoticed in this household. Also, smash that subscribe button. Yeah!